I was very, very happy. I think it's a wonderful acknowledgement of the work that I've done in India, and I think it's also an incredible opportunity to join hands with such an amazing organization like the United Nations and deliver on the promises and goals that they have to make this planet more sustainable and to improve the lives of every living being. I think to start with, I will have to do everything that is expected of me as in the capacity of a Goodwill Ambassador to deliver the goals of three primary efforts that we are hoping to achieve in India, which is essentially clean air, clean seas and wildlife protection. There are many environment programs that the United Nations runs, but to start with, these are the three areas that we are going to be focused on in India. The happy coincidence is that I was already doing a lot of work in these spheres. So obviously it's going to just add more momentum. There are going to be new partnerships, new efforts, and I guess also a very strategized, systemic way forward. Clean air is something that we must all ensure we ask for. It's our basic right to live. If we don't have clean air to breathe, then practically everything else feels useless. And when we become aware of the reality that faces us, confronts us, which is that out of 20 of the world's most polluted cities, 10 of them are in India. It must compel the desire for every citizen to do everything they can to combat this issue and ensure that for the sake of the health and the survival of the people living in these cities and many others, we must implement laws, implement policy and everyday human choices that will improve the quality of our air. Three things that people can immediately stop doing for the betterment of environment are: 1. Replace all plastics. Stop the use of plastic. Whether it is your plastic toothbrush in the morning or it is using shopping bags, plastic shopping bags, bottled water, plastic packaged bottled water. These are things that we can do and we must do. There are many other sustainable and healthy alternatives available in the market. So replace your plastic bag with a cloth bag or a jute bag. Replace your plastic toothbrush with a bamboo toothbrush. Replace your plastic bottles with glass and metal bottles. Carry your own water to work or school or education or wherever it is. I will give a personal example. Even when I travel, whether it's overseas or even within India, I carry my own bottles. So when I'm staying in a hotel, I don't allow the hotel to serve me packaged water. I send my bottles to the kitchen, get them to fill my bottles through filtered water, and I use that water. It's some effort, but it's totally worth it. I know that at least my footprint in that area is, reduced. Well, the government of India has, through signing the Paris Agreement, reinforced the belief that it is going to do everything it can to ensure that we build a sustainable economy and we do all we can to ensure the health of our people. Climate change is a reality, and unfortunately climate change has intensified the effects of many things. It's intensified the monsoons, it's intensified drought, it's intensified many natural occurrences, forest fires, and these are things that impact lives and livelihood. And I think that through implementation of strong environmental guidelines and also the understanding on the part of the public and the people, we can make a big difference in India. I always say maybe it's time to go back to basics, because India historically through centuries has been known to be a country and a nation of people that has worshipped nature. And if we have the ability to recognize that nature is the greatest provider and we can worship her and acknowledge the fact that she is the biggest nurturer, then we can and must work towards innovations and alternatives to make our society more sustainable. I think there are so many things that citizens can do in their daily lives to minimize consumption, wasteful consumption. And it starts with, if you see a tap dripping, fix it. Don't ignore or neglect wastage of natural resources. Try and find sustainable ways to celebrate all festivals. Refuse any material that you know is hazardous to the environment and to health. I think plastics have a big role to play in that. So refusal of plastics can make a big difference. There's one more thing that I've introduced into my life, which is the use of 100% biodegradable sanitary napkins. Many of us use so many personal hygiene items, so many items in our everyday lives without realizing the consequences of those items on the environment. So if we can bring that awareness and start finding alternatives, sustainable alternatives, we can make a big difference. And the good news is there are many young Indians who are working towards incredible innovations and providing us with those alternatives. So the point is that we have to ask and seek and find. The first and the most important thing that we need to recognize as Indians is that many of our cities are becoming very polluted. The quality of our air is very, very poor. There are indexes available online. There are apps available that help deliver the measure of air. Now, of course, news channels also let you know which city has poor air quality, and many cities in India have been surpassing dangerous air quality levels. The second thing that we need to understand is that poor air quality damages health. It damages growth in children. It impairs mental growth. It impacts heart health. It impacts lung function. And if we do not do anything about this, we are going to become very sick people. And we are no good if we are unhealthy. We can't do anything. Our productivity is useless. We can't be productive if we are unhealthy. What are the things that you and I can do to combat air pollution in urban centers? Waste management, segregation of waste at home, stopping the use of plastics and any environmentally hazardous material, because a lot of civic bodies and a lot of our waste finds its way to open wastelands and dumping grounds, and because we have poor waste management systems, this waste is set aflame, and that fire contributes to hazardous pollution of the air. The other thing that we can do as citizens is to ensure whenever we see anybody light a fire, especially to kachra, we have to stop them. It is inconvenient, but we can do it. The other thing that we can do is to try and reduce private transport. There are many families that own 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, and it's so wrong at so many levels. So to carpool, to try and share transportation. I can't use public transport. I do own a private vehicle, but I try and ensure that the vehicle that I own has the highest safety air emission standards. And not just that, we try and kind of within the family find ways to share the vehicle and carpool as much as possible, instead of using the vehicle independently at different times in the day. And these are simple things that can make a big difference. Well, I find myself in a very wonderful company, even at the United Nations Environmental Goodwill Ambassador program, where people like Anne Hathaway, Emma Watson, Leonardo DiCaprio and many others are doing extraordinary work to use their public voice to create awareness and engagement. In India, I know that many of my peers and colleagues are willing and capable and keen to be participative agents of change. I feel so happy when I see Alia launch Adopt a Pet program. I feel so happy when I see Varun and Alia do Keep Your City Clean PSA. So I know I'm only taking two names, but I do know that many of my colleagues in the industry, Farhan is doing such great work, Shabana ji and Javed Saab have for years done such extraordinary work. But many people, I think, understand the value and the merit and the urgency to use their public voice to engage and empower and educate people. Hi, I'm Dia Mirza. As the UN Environment Goodwill Ambassador for India, I would like to encourage and urge all of you to adopt sustainable lifestyles and make the difference I know you can. Lots of love.